Now, for more on Israel's imminent ground war, let's bring in former Pentagon official Elbridge Colby is with us, former Israeli special operator Aaron Cohen. Aaron, start with you. All indications are they've got the green light. It's a go. We saw an increase in activity with Hezbollah on the border with Lebanon. Israel had already evacuated 28 communities in the area in the hopes of protecting lives. So it seems that they do begin the ground incursion into Gaza, that there'll be an increase of military activity in the north, and now we are fighting a two-front war. And then with the big question mark, does Iran get involved? Your thoughts?
My thoughts are that this ain't the first time that we've gotten into it with multiple countries attacking us from multiple directions. There's already action. We've already neutralized a couple of dozen terrorists on the northern front. We're using drones, artillery. We've got Air Force Special Operations assets on the ground hitting targets with selectivity. Regarding Gaza, Sean, let me set the table. I believe that Israel is going to go into Gaza, and the reason why is because they have to. And I'm going to bring you back to 1997 during the Oslo Accords. We made peace. We sat down. Our then Prime Minister Rabin, who was a treasure, one of the founders and fathers of modern Israel, who helped turn that desert into a beautiful country, believed in peace. He got the Israelis behind him. And what ended up happening was we ended up disbanding our elite counter-terror undercover unit that was responsible for the overall maintenance in Gaza. And I believe it's not the IDF commander's fault. I believe that it was a decision that was made in order to try and make peace. At the time, it was Arafat. And so we haven't had the ability to get in there and clear that fertilizer out so those terrorists don't keep growing and keep snatching and grabbing those terrorist leaders and getting that intel we need. So right now, Israel's got 20 years worth of work that they have to make up for, and it's going to be bloody. It's going to be messy. There's going to be tunnels. We got hostages. But you know what? Like I've said to you before, this is when Israel comes together. The Israelis are smart, poise, audacity, and now we're going to add a little bit of sprinkle of resolve. But again, I think you're going to see Israel doing what it does at its finest, which is being able to springboard multiple ops with selectivity using our incredibly built-out special operations apparatus.
Elbridge, let me go to you. It speaks volumes to me that these foreign leaders would not meet with our own president, Joe Biden, when he was in the Middle East yesterday. They just flat out rejected him. It also, it angers me to no end that he's that naive, that he can give $6 billion to the Iranians, and he's pushing Israel so hard on the issue of aid to the people of the Palestinian people, knowing full well, or if he doesn't know, there's a level of ignorance that, frankly, is unforgivable for a U.S. president, but wanting to give $100 million in aid, humanitarian aid. We all know there's no way that money is going to humanitarian aid. That money will end up in the hands of Hamas. And they keep making the same mistakes over and over again. Now, if they want to really give money and they want to ensure it's used for humanitarian purposes, maybe there's checks and balances they can put in place. But I wouldn't give them one red cent unless and until they released every single hostage first. Why does Joe not try to get anything out of these people, and he's willing to throw hundreds of millions of dollars at them?
Well, good to be with you, Sean, on this sober night. But as it looks like the incursion into Gaza may start, I think, look, if you're thinking about what a just war is or a just cause, you look at what's necessary and the degree of the provocation. And clearly there was the most abominable provocation in the unprecedented atrocities in the post-war era against Israelis. And there's no question but that the Israelis, from a strategic point of view, they have to go in and have to restore deterrence. The famous strategist Clausewitz said, sometimes you need the flashing sword of vengeance. And it's very clear to me, talking to Israeli friends and watching, online on TV, that people in Israel feel that kind of vengeance in a very deep and I think just way. That doesn't mean going in and, leveling the whole place for its own sake, but it has to be thoroughgoing, and there has to be the destruction of the Hamas apparatus. And that is going to be very, very difficult. And I think the Biden administration, the vibe you get is they kind of want to have it both ways. They want it done cleanly. But the reality is, unfortunately and tragically, there is no way to do it cleanly. And of course, Hamas is the one who's set it up that way. So I think this is where we're going to start to see the dynamic go, and where I think it's very important for the United States to back our very close ally Israel as it goes through this very difficult operation, but that simply has to happen from both a strategic point of view and from a, a kind of a justice point of view to restore some semblance of justice after this abomination.
What are we to make, if I can ask both of you, and maybe Elbridge, I'll stick with you for a second here, of the Iranian comment that the time is up? That sounds like an imminent threat of their possible involvement on top of a two-front war. Now we're looking at the #1 state sponsor of terror threatening Israel simultaneously.
Well, I thought that was very concerning. I mean, my understanding is the Iranians have been sending various different messages. I think what the correspondent, John, in Israel said about the limited ability of Iran to directly necessarily attack Israel, but of course, above all, Hezbollah, but others,
but they do have rockets that can reach Israel.
That is very dangerous.
They have the military.
It is, although I think most.
Yeah, go ahead.
They do, and I think Hezbollah is, of course, a cat's paw of theirs, so it's almost the same thing that they could unleash. I think it's going to be very important. Look, the IDF is very capable, as Mr. Cohen was pointing out. They're not asking us to fight their wars. I think the key thing is for us to back them up politically and wherever possible in terms of military and financial support.
Let me ask you, Aaron, do you
see... Sean, if I can add to that real quick.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
We have a little expression, and it's Behet dos Rossi Dorim. And I'm talking to my Iranian friend Nasrallah. You're not out of our reach, And to our friend Ismail Khania, enjoy that 6-star hotel in Qatar. You're not out of our reach either. We invented Pegasus. We're listening to every phone call, thousands of them, and our intelligence capabilities. Even though we've got 20 years of catching up to do right now, and tunnels that we got to get through, and hostages that we got to get to. This is what we do. We're masters at this craft when it comes to hostage rescue, Sean. And we've got an incredible unit called Yachlom, which specializes in explosive ordnance disposal in those tunnels. And all the time that we have right now that we're sitting on, right now that's a friend. It's not a friend to the hostages, but it's a friend to that direct action against Hamas. And there's about 40,000 of them waiting in there. But the Israelis are getting focused and they're getting prepared right now. So again, none of you guys are not within our reach. To Mr. Nasrallah and to Khania. So, we've got a capability to get to everybody.
Yeah. I've known the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, for almost 3 decades, Aaron. And one thing I can say with 1,000% certainty, that one front war, two front war, Iranian involvement, you're right. Bibi Netanyahu will do what it will take to protect and preserve Israel. And if Iran wants to pick that fight, I predict they're going to lose in the south, they're going to lose in the north, and if the Iranians want to get involved, Israel will do whatever is necessary that they remain a state. That's it. And it won't matter what the rest of the world thinks at that point. You agree with me, Aaron? Last word.
I agree with you 100%. Bibi Netanyahu doesn't mess around. He was an officer. He was on one of the incredible raids at the Sabina takedown in 1972 when we took the first aircraft down.
Yep.
His brother's a treasure, and I think Bibi's got a ton of strength.
He lost his brother.
We're grateful. Yeah, he lost his brother, who's a national treasure, and we're grateful for the United States and the support, and we're grateful for you too, Sean.
Yeah, well, our prayers are with you as this invasion now seems imminent, and God be with you. Thank you, sir.